Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome back to the Operation Hill 100 Heart channel where we do what? Focus on healing, humor, and hot motherfucking topics. If you are here, you are tuned into the hot topics segment of my motherfucking channel, and we about to do a show review. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to do a sorry, we are about to do a show review of my motherfucking show that I watched called The Impact. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the freak into it. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And also hit the thumbs up on this video. Feel free to hit the thumbs up on this video. If you are liking and loving the content, thank you for coming and welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So we are reviewing the Impact Season 3, Episode 7. It's called GoFundMe. So the episode starts off in Tucson is pretty much, hold on one sec. Tucson is pretty much chilling with his friend group, and he's basically explaining to them the situation that took place with him and Ari, and he's like, listen, he showed up to the Remedy warehouse. He was inquiring about hey Tifa girl. He was inquiring about the $20,000 that Ari had promised him, and next thing you know, an eruption took place. They started arguing, so on and so forth. And long story short story shorter, she spit on him. She tried to. Let me be fair. She tried to. She spat at him. Right? It just was nasty. It was nasty. But I want to tell you something about those actions. I low key, not 100%, but I low key blame Tucson for this situation as well. You're going to see in the end why I blame him currently, but why I blame him from the past is because Tucson, the reason why I know you is because you've just been known as Ari's lapdog. That's all I knew you as. Her punching you, kicking on you, telling you to shut up. And while she doing all of that, you still acting like you worship her. So her spitting at you, although I feel it was nasty and disgusting and very demoralizing, listen, it's the disrespect that, you've been enduring all the time. So I think that's why she see nothing wrong with what she did. But anyway, long story short story shorter, listen, it was like he was like, pretty much with the spitting on him, that kind of sealed the deal on the friendship, and his feelings is hurt. On top of him, her spitting on him and disrespecting him, he didn't get the money. So he felt the way, right? So he shared that night after he left Ari, he reached out to Arrogant Tay because he wanted to vent about it, right? So, pretty much because they're all one friend group. In the next scene, you see Ari is going to do a Remedy photo shoot. And she wanted to try a new look, a different feel, so on and so forth. So she went out to this place called Joshua Tree. It's in California. It's really hot, kind of like desert, and it was so nice because to show her relaunch and rebrand and to, just give the ladies an opportunity to see all of the things it entails of being a business owner. She invited Keisha, Gloss Up, and Tori Bricks, right? So they aren't there yet. Only Ari is there. They're on their way there, but they're talking in the cars. They're riding. And they was talking about the Tucson situation. And Keisha was like, okay, well, let me share with y'all what I saw because I was present. And they both was looking like Tori and Gloss was looking like, well, damn, are they gonna be able to get past it? Tori was like, listen, I've been off Tucson ass since the whole bullshit from before, so I don't care if they get past it or not. Gloss Up was like, I hope so, because I like Tucson and I like Ari. And meanwhile, back in at Atlanta, Carly and Daybella, they stayed back. They wasn't with the ladies in California. And it seems as though Carly was sick. She didn't say what was wrong. It didn't seem like it was COVID or anything, but she definitely was feeling sick because when she called Daybella on FaceTime, she was sneezing and coughing and so on and so forth. So she was like, what's up? I haven't seen you. How's everything going? So Daybella was like, I'm good. It's just that every now and again, I like to find balance in my life and I like to take time out for my son and put as much effort into mothering him as I do my business. So she was basically saying that the last, since she has been missing in action. She been really, diving into the mommy role and doing what she have to do and so on and so forth. And she was like, she has to dive in triple time because your man London on the track is very, very much disengaged from parenting. Right. What I want to say is I love how Carly and Daybella is hell bent on keeping their relationship solid, even though everybody around them keeps trying to nitpick and disintegrate it. And they're like, listen, we don't give a damn what they say. We're friends and we're moving forward. Right. So, anywho, back in California at Joshua's Tree, Ari is getting ready for her photo shoot, and Mike is there. And Mike is Tucson's boyfriend, but he also does Ari hair, right? So he's there doing Ari hair, and Ari's basically venting to him about Tucson. She was like, "Listen, I just feel like Tucson has been different. He doesn't act like the same old him, and I kind of sort of feel like that has changed since you and him been in a relationship." I mean, that could be true, but I'm gonna tell you what else I think is true. I didn't know who the hell Tucson was before Ari. I didn't know who the hell Tucson was before the impact. What I also think is taking place is Tucson is just in a place in his life where he's getting attention from the entire world. He's on blogs, he's on social media. People are posting him. And one thing about social media, when you're a public figure, you open up your life to be judged, to be scrutinized, to be whatever people feel like doing or whatever the type of day that they have and the feelings that they have. And there's nothing that you could do about it because you're a public figure. So what I also think is that it could be a part of the fact that Mike is his new boo and maybe he's shifting and moving in that relationship. But I also think it's because Tucson has so much now, so many eyes on him that he's feeling the pressure of that. And I think because of that, he's on the cocaine and he's trying to cope with being a public figure and he's struggling with that, right? But who knows? I'm not there, right? Also, Ari, you're not gonna really have to worry about if Tucson and Mike's situation is causing Tucson to act up. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't in the last episode, Mike was basically saying, "Sweetie, I'm moving and I'm separating from you, and I'll see you later and be blessed." So the relationship is not gonna be an issue much longer, Ari. Um, but what Ari did that I didn't like was she laughingly basically admitted to being wrong for spitting at Tucson. And what I also didn't like is when she did that, Mike did a little chuckle with her, and I didn't see shit funny in that moment. I didn't see nothing funny in that fucking moment because what she did was nasty and disgusting. And as far as I'm concerned, Ari is very emotionally immature. It plays out all the time on social media. In all fairness to her, she has definitely slowed down as far as displaying how emotionally immature she can be, but she still is emotionally immature, and that was one of the number one ways she could have shown it, because her excuse for saying why she spit on him, she was like, "Oh, I wasn't necessarily trying to spit on him, I was just trying to gesture like fuck you." Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even if that was the gesture, that was a disgusting way of showing it. First of all, that's not the way you speak to or treat your friends. That's the long and short of it. That is not the way you speak to or treat your friends, and that's definitely not the way you do it publicly. So Tucson, I'm on Tucson's side with the whole. Once that spit came into play, I'm done with you. The only reason why I'm kind of side eyeing Tucson is because, like I said, from what I know of you, you have been letting her spit on you, kick on you, slap on you, stomp on you, and curse you out any other time. So I don't think she sees anything wrong with that this time. But I just didn't like the fact that she tried to laugh it off like, "Oh, I didn't mean it." And then Mike, you did chuckling with her when you should have been checking her fucking ass in a nice way. But I don't know if you had the comfort to do that because she is your client. And I don't know if you guys are necessarily friends, right? So anyway, her excuse about the $20,000 was that she wired the $20,000 from her account to the dealership where Tucson was buying the car, right? She said whatever paperwork that Tucson filled out, it didn't go through successfully. So he didn't get a chance to get the car, which means she snatched the money back, right? My thing is, with all that being said, Ari, where is the money? Right. But we'll get into that a little later. Right. So Mike proceeded to say that, he feels bad. He was like, "I feel bad that everybody is saying that Tucson changed. And I also feel bad that I could be a contributing factor to that negative change because nobody is saying that he changed in a good way." Right. So Ari was just saying, this is not the Tucson she normally knows. She knows from before. Mentally he's not there. She don't think he's well, and I believe that he's allegedly dibbling dabbling in drugs. So I mean, of course you wouldn't get the same person if that's the case, right? Mike asked Ari if she would be willing to have a conversation with Tucson when they got back to Atlanta, and she was like, I mean, give me some time to sleep on it. I don't really know because I don't feel like this is the Tucson that I know, right? So then she got her confessional and she was like, I'm used to losing friends over money. She was like, so going through this with Tucson doesn't shock me. I'm really used to losing friends over money. She was like, and I'm just at a point in my life where I don't know the difference between a friend and an opportunist because this keeps on happening, right? I wish that I knew the other folks that this took place with, because I would like to hear their versions of the story, because what you did with this Tucson situation, Ari, in my opinion, was very fucking crafty. It was very crafty. It was very, very crafty, and you need to be called to the carpet as well. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So anyway, Gloss and Tori and Keisha, they finally arrived to Joshua's tree where Ari is, and so on and so forth. So they catching up, and Gloss and Keisha revealed that they're about to collaborate on a song together, which I thought was so nice, because I know that Keisha's star is a lot more bigger than Gloss. So for her to be willing to collaborate with Gloss Up, I think that's very, very nice of her, right? And Tori revealed she did in fact get the Thompson residency. I was like, all right. I don't know. I like Tori. I like Tori. And there's gonna be some things that Ari says about Tori in this episode that I totally agree with. And that's pretty much the consensus of what folks feel about Tori. I like Tori. So anyway, they toasted up to being bad bitches working, yada yada yada. Flashback, because what happened was the scene kept flashing from California to Atlanta, because Atlanta is where Daybella, Tucson, Carly was at, and then like I said, California is where Ari, Gloss Up, Keisha, and Tori was at. So back in ATL, Daybella was setting up her recording equipment because she said she was going to finally have the strength to record her autism announcement about her 5-year-old son, Cairo. Cairo is so cute. Cairo is so cute. It's just something about chocolate babies that does it for me, honey. And Cairo is so, so cute, right? And she was like, she has joined a support group regarding her son's diagnosis, and she's learning how to embrace the challenges about being a mom of an autistic child, right? But she was like, she's really, really nervous about making the announcement because she knows it's going to go everywhere, all over the blogs, all over social media. And she was like, listen, I could take the scrutiny when it comes to me, but I don't know how much of that I can take when it comes to my son. And I really felt her on that. And I even feel a little bit for Tucson too, because it's just like myself, right? I'm not a celebrity. Well, in my mind I am, but we'll talk about that another time. But I'm not a real life world renowned celebrity, right? And I know sometimes when people say things about me and I hear about it, because they're never bold enough to say the shit to my face, even if they have to put it in text, they'll never say it to my face. But anywho, I know sometimes when some things are said about me, especially when they're not true, they have a heavy effect on me, because I do not like for people to like lie on me, or say something about me that's not true. So I can't imagine my little old self feeling the pressure when it's just me. I can't imagine what it must feel like when hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of people are having all of these different fucking opinions about you, and they don't even know you, right? And that's one thing when it's just you. Imagine when it's your kid, the child you birth. I'm not even a parent, and I would feel that way for my nephews if somebody was saying something about them, or my nieces or my siblings. So I really, really felt why Daybella was so nervous about making the announcement, but I also love the fact that she wanted to bring awareness to this. So I like Daybella. I like Daybella. I think naturally she's very, very pretty. I think she could stand to gain 10 to 20 pounds, but hey, I could stand to lose 10 to 20. So I'm not judging her. But she is very, very pretty, and she comes across very, very nice, right? They flash back to California. There's some mix up and some meltdown about Ari's photo shoot, and how she no longer wears wigs, and she didn't like that wig. And she kind of got emotional about the hair meltdown. And I think it was more than that. I think just in that moment, how, and I'm that type of person too, right? How like one thing happens in your life, you don't let it break you. Another thing happens, you don't let it break. Like when you get to the fifth thing could be something so incredibly small, but because you endured all the other four and you stood tall, that fifth thing, it was like a freaking open nerve on an ice cube. You just lost it. And everybody's looking at you like, you mad because you can't open a can? And it's like, no, it's not the can. It's just blah, 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 blah. I felt like that's what was wrong with Ari in that moment. I don't think it was necessarily about the wig. I think it was she said she doesn't really like being away from home in Miami. B, being away from her kid. C, going back and forth for Tucson. D, being away from her man. I just think, she has her whole family's future and dreams on her back because she's the moneymaker. So I just think in that moment when that shoot didn't fit and her having all of that stuff on her mind, it caused her to have an emotional overload. I personally like when I see that softer side of Ari, but I also know, like me, it's like a double-edged sword. She can be really, really sweet and emotional and nice, but then when you see that other side, it makes you go back to not being able to stand her because she's so fucking mean when it's that other side. But I get it. because I'm very similar to that. I can be so sweet, so sweet, so sweet, so nice. I have changed, so I'm not necessarily mean on the other side, but I'm cold on the other side. So whereas you would get when I'm in a good space, the sweet, the nice, the warm, the compassionate. When I'm not in a good space with you, I'm very cold with you. I'm not necessarily mean anymore, but I am cold. I can admit that. So I was trying not to judge her because I know we can have similar character traits. And like I said, I don't necessarily think it was about the wig in those moments. I just think she was having an emotional overload. So then they flash to back to Atlanta, and Tucson is meeting with Arrogant Tay. Tucson. Tucson. I don't know. Once again, right? I would never, ever in this lifetime judge an addict, right? I come from a family of addicts. So I would never judge a person who has a drug addiction, right? I just am a little concerned, Tucson, with either A, how much of the drugs you are allegedly taking, or B, if this is like how you respond because it's like maybe your first time. I don't know. Because Tucson, everything at that lunch, dinner, brunch, or whatever that was you was having with Arrogant Tay gave you took a bump before you got there. And then probably about an hour into you being there, you went into the bathroom. It took two more bumps, allegedly. Because you was moving around and eyes rolling in the back of your head and sweating and being all sporadic. And I'm looking at Tucson like, Tucson, what the hell is wrong with you? So, in all of that craziness, I got what the issue was. And this is why I was saying, Ari, your ass is crafty too. Ain't even one of y'all hands clean, you or Tucson. This ain't all about him. This is about you too. The issue was when you gifted Tucson the money. And see, sometimes I have to question if some things are is about editing, because we don't know if when you gifted Tucson the money there was more conversation about it. But the only conversation that we heard, and it's the only conversation that Tucson is saying took place, was that here's $20,000, right? Now I'm gonna use myself and use way less money to land a plane. If somebody calls me and says to me, hey, Khadija, I want to donate to Healing Hearts. So I'm going to give you $100, right? And giving me the $100, if that's all you say, then you're leading me to believe that I'm free to do with this $100 whatever I choose, right? Would you like for me to contribute it to Healing Hearts? Of course, because that is kind of sort of the reason you gave it to me. But if you didn't put a stipulation on it, then I, in my mind, this is just how I think, I'm free to spend the fucking money how I choose, right? When Ari said, here's $20,000 on the show, unless editing edited out, I did not hear her say, here's $20,000 as a contribution to your new car. Now, if she did say that and I missed it, y'all drop down in the comments and let me know. But I didn't hear that. I don't think Tucson heard it either, because he was under the impression that, oh, Ari is just gifting me $20,000. Now, what I think might have happened was that when Ari gifted it to him, he might have said to her, oh, bitch, I'm gonna get me a new car, right? So I think because of that, she now, according to her, because we have no actual receipt of this, but this is what Ari said happened. She said, I wired the $20,000 to the dealership from my business account. Now, granted, she didn't put out no receipts, so only heaven only knows if that's what really happened. But okay, we're going to take her word for it, right? Because she claims she did it and he's not telling that part. So once again, when the paperwork didn't go through, what it seemed like happened is they must have said, okay, well, he's not getting the car because the paperwork didn't go through. And she must have said, okay, well, give me my money back. Now, here is where her and Tucson have the issue. Tucson's point was, okay, whether I got the car or not, if you're gifting me $20,000, give it to me. What the fuck are you sending it here, there, where shit? Give it to me. Now, what I would have respected is if Ari would have said, well, I think you're a fucking addict, and I'm under the impression that if I give you this 20,000 fucking dollars, you'll smoke it all the fuck up and it'll go to waste and you make you may even, God forbid, kill yourself. That's why I don't want to give you the money. That's why I sent it straight to where it was supposed to go. I would have respected if she would have said that, right? If that's the case. But for you to say you're gifting somebody something, and then after you gifted to them, put stipulations on it, and you didn't preface the gift with that, I could see Tucson feeling like, who the fuck? What, like, what should, do you really want to give me the money or not? So I felt Tucson's frustration there, right? I understood where he was coming from in that regard. But the only thing that was weird to me, right, is that, like I said, he was bumped up, rumped up, and trumped up at that fucking dinner with Arrogant Tay. Because even Arrogant Tay, you know what I think? I think Arrogant Tay agrees with Tucson's feelings. But, and he even said this, he was like, I feel like you pretty much like going too far and doing too much and acting like you're not yourself. And I think Arrogant Tay wanted to say, but not on camera, you need to get clean and sober, because this you right here and the way you're responding to this is making you more uglier than the actual incident and then Ari. I think he just was trying to say it in a nice way because we on camera and I'm not trying to expose to the world that your ass is bumped up right now, but we could see Arrogant Tay, so you didn't have to say us that he was high off life, okay? So he just kept saying like, oh, you know, you're doing too much and I don't like this new Tucson. And Tucson said a lot of things that I honestly agree with and can relate to, but once again he was going too far. What he said was, you know, he's about to start meeting motherfuckers where they at, and if you treat me a particular way, I'm gonna treat you the same, which I honestly respect, because like I said, I've only seen Ari treat this boy like shit. I'm not trying to be shady, but for real, I remember one time I seen on a video, they were like in a car and I guess they were play fighting, but the way she was pulling his hand, punching him in the face, and you know, he's trying not to hit her back because he's a guy and he's kind of laughing it off, but you can see in his face like he feels stupid, and you there laughing. That type of stuff is not funny. Why would you want to treat your friends like that? So I think that's the way you get off. Like you basically, you know, take advantage of him, and in order for him to get what he needs from you, he just takes it. So by him saying that he's no longer doing that no more, I respect that. But Tucson, let me call your ass to the carpet. You're only saying that you're not accepting it anymore because she retracted her $20,000. That's the fucking issue. Let's call a spade a spade. So both of y'all hands is dirty in the situation, and y'all full of fucking shit. Do not try to make it seem like, oh, you know, Ari, you was not only giving him those $20,000 out the kindness of your heart. You was giving it to him because he does everything that you motherfuckers say and worship the ground you walk on, and you able to treat him like shit. And really and truly, you wasn't really necessarily giving it to him, because as soon as something didn't go the way you felt it should go, or didn't go down the way you think it should have gone, you snatched it back. You never actually gave it to him. And Tucson, my dear, I don't care how you let her treat you, she doesn't owe you shit. She does not owe you anything. The young lady works hard for her own money, and you should start to do the same, and you should get sober so you can do the same, because she doesn't have to give you anything, even if you do allow her to treat you like shit. Tucson, you looked crazy at that dinner with Arrogant Tay. You looked absolutely crazy. And Arrogant Tay, he was saying it like, what is going on, bro? What is going on? And I felt the exact same fucking way, right? So, anywho, he was just there saying that he's putting up a GoFundMe. It was just too much. It was too much. It was too much. Tucson, you needed to stop. So back over there in Joshua's Tree in California, Ari is finishing up her Remedy photo shoot, and then the ladies, they go sit down, they have dinner, and she's basically saying how she appreciates them coming to support her, and she just wanted to show them what it looks like when you're running your own successful dinner and you're a business mogul and a guru. And I was like, I didn't know that, but okay, girl, congratulations. And but I did like that she did, because once again, I always like seeing the softer side of Ari. She went around and she was giving everybody compliments. She was basically saying that her and light skin Keisha have a good relationship, because in her mind they're both boss bitches, and light skin Keisha is so funny. And and she said what I felt like I said about Tori Brick. She was like, you're just a breath of fresh air. You're just a really nice person. You're a really nice person. You're a really sweet person. And I enjoy that part of you. And for us people who have that other side to us, right? Who are double-edged swords, myself included, you take pride and you enjoy being around souls that are like only that nice way all the time, because that's kind of low key what you aspire to be in a sense, right? Me personally, I'm not gonna lie, at this point in my life, I'm happy I'm a double-edged sword. But for a lot of years, I remember I gravitated towards my friend Mo, because she always was like a person who was happy and sweet and in a good space and able to make the best of things. And I like that because I know I can be that way sometimes, but not all the time. So I think Ari kind of appreciates being around Tori, because it's like, okay, you kind of show me that I don't have to be a bitch and be mean and be nasty. I can be sweet and respectful and liked as well and be a bad boss bitch. So I like the compliments that she had gave Tori. And then for Glow, it seems to me like Keisha and Ari might feel like, Gloss is under the wing, and they're pretty much trying to, help her, for lack of a better word, get to where they are. So when she turned to Glow, she just, I don't know if she necessarily gave her a compliment, but she said, I just hope that you're soaking all of this up. Right. And okay. So I was like, okay, that was nice. What I did like about this is that we need more reality shows like this. Because do not get me wrong, I do feel like shows like Now That's TV and Baddies, they are needed because there is folks in the world who live that way. But then there's also folks who live like what took place on the Impact today, which was women of color being able to get together, show love, have a good time, show respect for one another, admiration for one another, no shade, no bullshit, no disrespect in a confessional. So I personally like this show because as much as I like baddies, I also like this to see that there is some women who live like this and this is attainable. So I really, really, really like this. I think this is a good show. Right? So now everyone is back in ATL, right? So they came back from California. Everybody is back in Atlanta, and Gloss and Keisha are getting together at the studio because they're gonna start, working on their song that they're performing together, and they're gonna be doing it with a live band. So I thought that was really cute. I thought that was really cute, right? And I kind of like the song that Gloss and Keisha got together when they was, practicing it, right? So then Wayne, he is the co-head of A&R at QC Music, and Tati come, and they're basically there for Gloss, I guess, to see what she's doing and to talk to her, right? And you could just basically tell like Wayne is running out of patience for Gloss. He's like, listen, you don't release music enough. And when you do, all that shit sound the same. He was like, so you're going to have to show me something because basically your time is running out. And you can see as he's constantly reminding Gloss of that, because he did that in another one of the episodes, she begins to get defensive because she's like, listen, I'm trying. Gloss kind of reminds me of like a baby. I don't think she's mature enough yet, right? I think she needs a lot of guidance, and she kind of comes across like a young girl. She kind of reminds me of like a high school student, right? Nice, but that's just how I assess her. So, anywho, when he was saying that her music all sounds alike, she got really frustrated. And she's like, well, it is because that's my sound. I'm Gloss. And then she turned to Keisha and was like, well, Keisha, have you ever experienced, hearing folks say that you always sound the same, or blah, blah. And she was like, well, no. She was like, I tend to like shift and try different things because, I want to sound different. I want to create something different. I want to do something different. I want to bring something different to the table. She was like, but if you don't mind, let me chime in here. She was like, I know that you're getting frustrated and annoyed, and I've been where you are. She was like, but it would help you to just be a little bit more receptive to Wayne and Tati, because this is your team. This is your team. This is who you have by your side. And even though you don't like always hearing what they have to say, they are your village. So even if it doesn't sound good, they know what's going to work for you and they're actually trying to help you, right? And I really appreciated Keisha giving her that guidance, because you could basically tell, like, she needed it, right? So Gloss Up said something in these moments that I don't want to speak it into existence, but it's something I've been peeking at ever since the season started regarding Gloss, because I think it's going to eventually come to a head, right? So she said, she was like in her confessional, she was like, I really appreciate that, Keisha's support and her collaborating with me, because I don't have a lot of friend support when it comes to this. So I'm thinking, I heard about Gloss Up because allegedly she was Glorilla's crew. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, right? So, and it's funny because I asked Pookie not too long ago. I was like, So you told me that Gloss Up is a part of a crew that's Glorilla's crew, right? You also telling me that Gloss Up does music. I can't fucking tell you one song Gloss Up has made. I was like, so do you think that? And I know that Glorilla is signed to a label, so she may not have the free range to do what she want. But let's just pretend that she can suggest some things. I'm like, do you think that she's throwing any bones at Gloss? And again, I don't know. I see Glorilla with Meg the Stallion. I see Glorilla other places. And when she brought up she doesn't have any friend support, I'm thinking like you're allegedly besties with one of the biggest girls in hip hop right now. You don't try to hit her up, and I don't even mean for handouts, but just for advice, support, a little fake freestyle, like something to help get you out there. So when she said that, I said that to my boyfriend a couple of weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I think Gloss and Glow, it's gonna get a little rough. And I don't want it to, because I like those young girls. From what I heard, they solid. But that whole you not having friends in this industry, friend support in this area, that kind of threw me for a loop because your friends are one of the biggest girls in hip hop right now. So I don't know. But anywho, another thing, sidebar. What happened to Lakia? Why they took Lakia off of this? Ain't Lakia a QC person too? Why they took her off the show? I thought Lakia was cool. Anywho, so basically, Wayne was like, listen, I hear all of that, but I'm just letting you know QC is going to pull their weight as much as they can. If you don't start to pull yours, you're going to be dropped from the label. Be blessed. And that was pretty much along the short of that, right? And the next scene, which was the last scene, you see Ari having lunch with her family. And she brought along Yo son. Ari, why you have to wear these outfits when you with your son? First of all, you have one of the biggest asses in the industry, right? So it doesn't take much for it to show. Don't stop wearing these outfits when you with that little boy. That's too much. Come on now, put on a sweatsuit. You with your son? I don't like it. Anywho, so she goes to lunch with her family, and they sit down, and she's telling them about. They asking her about like, oh my god, how was Joshua's whatever the fuck it's called, Joshua's Corner, Joshua Street, whatever it was. How did that go? Did you like it? She was like, it was hot as hell, but I enjoyed it. And also, I just got things together pretty much regarding Remedy, and that's what I went out there for. She was like, I'm having a brand activation relaunch kind of thing, and I want my family and friends to come, so on and so forth. So her sister was like, okay, so friends could come too. Is Tucson coming? Arby was like, absolutely not. So mom chimed in, and mom was like, well, I like Tucson. Tucson has been your friend prior to all of this industry shit, and I like for you to have some solid friends. So what's going on with that? So Arby was like, don't get me wrong, mom. I have no issue with having a conversation with Tucson regarding our friendship, but we could never do no business together anymore. That's a dead deal, right? But she doesn't mind moving forward as friends. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice, right? So then the sister asked Yosan, she was like, well, how do you like being in ATL with your cousins? And he was like, no, I like it. I love it. But the only boring part is school. So Ari asked him, she was like, listen, well, would you be happy if mom got you homeschooled and you could be between Atlanta with your cousins and Miami with your mom, right? And then it seemed like they said that Ari's mother would be his homeschool teacher. And Ari says her plan is to buy her family a home in ATL and to continue working on her compound because that's really what's going to elevate the family and herself to a bigger status and so on and so forth. Oh, and then mom got emotional at the table, praising Ari, saying how proud of her she is, and how far she's come, and she love her. And then they toasted up to Ari's success, right? I noticed the sisters didn't say anything. If they did, they edited that out. Okay, homeschooling for Yosan is a no. Homeschooling for Yosan is an absolute no. Young people develop social skills by engaging with young people, right? He does not need to be sitting there with his 50 something 60 something year old grandmother for 6 7 4 5 how many hours out the day, only engaging with her, having a little snapshot of time with his cousins his age, and then engaging with adults again. No, no, no. He needs to go to school. He needs to go to school. Now, granted, he may need to go to a school where other celebrity kids go, because how celebrities are about their children, how weird people are. I get all of that. But he needs to be engaging other young people, okay? He does not need to be homeschooled. I'm sorry. So if that means he got to go to school at one school for how many months in Miami and then another a school for how many months in Atlanta? Fine, make that happen. But disengaging a young person from other young people does not help the young person with their social skills. And what I need for adults to know is that in order to build in order to build well-rounded adults, they have to have social and emotional skills. Let me say that again. In order to build well-rounded adults, they need to have healthy social and emotional skills. So this little boy does not need to be homeschooled. He needs to be in school and around other children his age so he can learn how to navigate being a kid. So no, I don't agree with that, but hey, it's not my kid. In any event, in the next scene, Tucson is in the studio. Oh, Tucson. Tucson is revved up on the ski slopes, allegedly, and he's recording his so-called lie to you in regards to the situation that took place with him and Ari. And he's also dropping a GoFundMe to recoup the money that Ari never gave him. Tucson, give it the fuck up and turn it the fuck loose. This is embarrassing. This is absolutely embarrassing. This is embarrassing, right? Tucson, your thought process regarding that money is nasty and you sound absolutely fucking crazy. You sound crazy. The long and the short of it is somebody promised you something and then they reneged on their promise. That's it and that's all. That's okay. That's okay. Morally, is it quote unquote right? Absolutely not. But it's all right, but it's okay. Like, that's it. That's it. If she reneged on her promise with her fucking money, she's allowed to do so. She's allowed to do so. But this big fuss that you're making as though you're entitled to it, this is nasty. This is nasty. The song, the GoFundMe, then under the GoFundMe, you're going to put help Tucson recover from a heartbreaking betrayal. Tucson, stop. Tucson, stop. Tucson, stop. It's enough. It's enough. And Ari said something, and I have to actually agree with it. She said, you're a begging fucking leech. At this point, you seem like a begging leech, right? But what I will say is, Ari, you fed that spirit. You fed that fucking spirit of entitlement. You fed that spirit of entitlement. And you know why you fed it? Because on the other end of it, you could be able to treat that boy like shit. And for whatever reason, you get off on that. That feeds your spirit. So y'all both, ain't neither one of y'all hands clean. And y'all was doing the same fucking thing to one another. And now the chickens have come home to fucking roost. So we'll see how this turns out, ladies and gentlemen. I actually enjoyed this episode. I did. I thought it was pretty good. I think the impact is good overall because I like to see other facets of young people and young adults and how they're navigating their celebrity and being people of color. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Not all the time we need a fucking baddies, right? But I don't enjoy is some of the time the issues that the gay men have with the women on the show, because the disrespect, in my opinion, is just too much. And sometimes it's on both ends. It ain't just the gay men doing it to the women. Sometimes it's the women doing it to the men. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I hate to see men and women go at it, and I hate to see it be at its highest level of disrespect. So that part of it I don't enjoy, but that's a small snippet of it. Overall, I enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. And if you are new here, please do not forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you tuning into my content. Stay tuned because I will be dropping the Real Housewives of Potomac review in a few. Enjoy your day.